In this session, we'll learn how to invoice a sales order that has been already allocated and has a generated picking ticket number. From the transaction menu, select Accounts Receivable module, then select Invoice Sales Orders option. Today's date will be displayed by default, which will be the invoice date. However, you can overwrite it to the actual invoice date if you need to. Click OK to confirm the date. Then either type in your sales order number or select it from the list. So I'm gonna type in my order number that I want to invoice. Press enter. Now the system will move to the pick ticket number field. If the order has been allocated already, you can either pick up or select a pick ticket number from the list, or if you press enter, the system will basically collect all the generated pick ticket numbers for that order, which will be usually helpful in case of a multi-store sales order. So as you can see in the grid, the system collected all the stores, and if we scroll to the right, we'll see the related pick ticket number and the picked quantity versus the ordered quantity. This way the system will generate the invoices based on the allocated quantities, which are reflected on the pick ticket. So basically, if you want to revise any information, you can highlight the related store or the related pick ticket number. You can go to header tab, and then you will be modifying the information on the header tab for the selected pick ticket and the selected store number. All the information, as you can see, like the bill to address, the ship to address, the payment terms, ship via, special instructions, etc., carried over from the related sales order and from the related pick ticket information. Same idea apply. If you go to the details tab, you can see the lines or the styles and the quantity that have been allocated for that sales order have been carried over to the invoice as well. So you can see here the shipped quantity versus the ordered quantity. As you scroll down to the related style, you will see how many pieces will be shipped versus how many pieces were booked on the sales order. Once you verify the header and the detail information, you can go to the charges tab, which will basically reflect the total invoice per each store. And here, since the customer master is set up to generate non-consolidated invoice, so each store, each pick ticket number will have or will be generated a separate invoice. As you can see, now we are selecting pick ticket number 000143 for store number 001. So this is the total shipped amount, total shipped quantity. If there is any additional merchandise discount, sales taxes, or freight to be added to this invoice, you can type it here. So let us say I want to add additional freight charges, so I'm gonna put $25 as freight charges. If there is any additional insurance or COD charges related to the freight, it can be listed or entered in this place. And finally, the system will put by default the total cartons. You can override that, and you can put the total weight for the entire invoice for that specific store. So I'm gonna put 3.5 pound, and total cartons are 1 carton. Other information here, like the bill of lading, will be populated later on once the packing list is generated for that invoice, as we will see later on advanced sessions. Balance to pay will be calculated based on the total shipped amount plus any charges minus any discount. So this will be the total balance to pay on that invoice. If you want to add or to override any trade discount, you can also override that here. Factor or non-factor, this will be depending on the customer master setup. So if the customer is factored, the factor code will be represented here, and the generated invoice will be marked as factored invoice. Otherwise it will be non-factored. If we go back to the list tab, you will be able to scroll down to any other store and pick ticket number, and as you scroll down, the header, the details, and the charges tab will be representing the selected pick ticket number for the related store number. Once you verify and you do all the necessary changes that you would like to do either on the header or the charges tab, click the save button to generate the invoices, and the system here will show you a batch summary total for the generated invoices. So here it will indicate for me that there will be 4 invoices, total pieces 140, total dollar amount for the entire invoices 3,007.56 cents, and total carton and total weight. Once you verify that all the information are correct and ready to go and post, click proceed, and now the system will start generating the invoice numbers for the specific order. At the end, the system will give you the range of invoice number generated from 2, and that because we selected a multi-store sales order for different stores, so this will be the range of invoice number generated for the entire order. Finally, if you would like to stamp a free text notes on the generated invoices, you can choose yes to this option. Otherwise, if you would like to bypass this option, choose no. Now we'll discuss the other scenario on how to generate a consolidated invoices either by account or by DC. So we'll check first the customer master setup. I'll go to master data, customer option, then I'll select my customer account code that I would like to switch to consolidated invoice. Click edit the current record, then go to special tab. The special tab will have the option or the parameter responsible for either or not to generate consolidated invoices. So if I choose consolidated invoices yes, you will furthermore be given the choice to consolidate on the DC level or no. So if you choose yes, that means the system will generate 1 invoice per each DC, no matter what's the stores. If you choose no, the system will basically generate consolidated invoice for the entire order selected. So let me choose consolidated invoice yes, consolidate by DC as no. I'll save the changes on the customer master. Then I'll close out and go back to invoice the sales order. As we discussed in the first part of the session, to invoice a sales order, go to transaction, accounts receivable, then invoice sales order. The invoice date and the posting date will show up as today's date by default. You still can, however, do any changes. Confirm the invoice date, and then locate the sales order number that you would like to invoice. You can select one particular pick ticket or press enter to select the entire pick ticket numbers related to that sales order. As you can see this time, since we switched the account to invoice a consolidated invoice, you will have basically one record for the entire stores within that sales order, and this will represent the total shipped quantity and the shipped amount for the entire stores on that sales order. So the first record is representing the consolidated invoice record, and the lines underneath will represent the breakdown by each store. If I highlighted the record for the consolidated invoice, the same idea like before, you can go to the header tab and do any revisions like changes to the invoice due date, changes to the payment terms, etc. if needed. And when you go to the details tab, the system here will consolidate the entire quantity and amount for each style for the range of the stores included on that sales order. So as you can see now, the system combined or consolidated the total shipped quantity for the stores included on that sales order. Same applies to the charges tab, will be representing the total quantity and total shipped amount and charges for the entire order, consolidating all the stores. When you verify the information and you're ready to save, click the Save Modification button on the toolbar. And now, as you noticed, the system generated only one invoice with the total shipped quantity and total shipped amount. Click Proceed to save the invoices. Once the invoice is saved, click OK to accept, and you can either or not add free text notes to the generated invoice.